Oh, if anybody's here yet, just gonna wait a little bit and then go live. Gotta spread the word. Wait a little bit. Just gonna sit here for 2-3 minutes, wait for some people to come in. I have a 5-minute equilibrium pattern setting up on ETH. I'm only gonna be, well, I'll check in with everything, but certainly gonna be paying the most attention to ETH right now with all this activity. I'll start going once we get 50 people on here. Actually need to check in on everything else. I've only been watching ETH this morning. So bear with me here, just winging it live. Need to get my bearings on the situation of the crypto space. Just flipped ETH. Okay, so personally, I just bought in the low 130s. The signal for me was this 15-minute move on the 5-minute time frame, breaking the lower high pattern on increasing bull volume. That tells me we're going to see a significant bounce. I had missed that initial move, so I patiently waited for consolidation, anticipating that a higher low was going to come after that bull move. This was the consolidation. I made my entire entry on this candlestick. I placed some bids. I got filled with maybe 33% of my position in bids. And then I just said, all right, screw this. I'm hitting the ask. I want these ETH because I know we're going to rock it up. So I just hit the ask for the rest. Really got impatient, but I didn't want to miss the move that I knew was coming. So entered all of my position in the 136s to 138s and just now sold in the 150 range. And I'm watching this pattern. I will re-enter if we get a bull break of this pattern, but right now that remains to be seen. We have our high, low of the consolidation, lower high, higher low. So this 5-minute equilibrium pattern is going to give us another opportunity. And, worst case scenario, I'm going to leave a few dollars on the table by exiting my position already, but I wanted to lock in. I mean, anytime you give me those gains, the kind of gains that we just saw there, about a $12 move, you give me $12 in 20 minutes, I'm going to take that every single time and take that off the table and then be able to reassess the situation and perhaps re-enter. And I will gladly leave a little profit on the table to have locked in those gains and have that set, because those are my gains for the week right there. I could make no trades for the rest of the week and be happy with that. So that's where I stand right now. I'm watching this consolidation equilibrium pattern and waiting patiently for it to break. It should break sometime in the next 20 minutes or so. Our bottom is in for now, the bottom for today. And, well, I won't say the bottom for today, but most likely the volume climax is here very clearly. Look at that huge volume, the huge bullish reversal candlestick. And from here on the hourly time frame, we have to set higher lows and higher highs. So here we are consolidating a little bit. And even if we do break this 5-minute equilibrium pattern bearish, which would occur at 145.77, and we're close to breaking it right now, if we break this bearish, that just tells me be more patient. But I will still be looking for a re-entry down here because that hourly candlestick is significant enough that I will be looking for a higher low based off of that hourly candlestick, likely around the low 140s. And it looks like we are breaking this equilibrium pattern bearish, so I'm glad I exited my position at 150 and will now step back and reassess the situation and be very patient. So this right now is a little bit of a red flag for me, the fact that we just broke to that lower low. And so now I'm going to be even more picky on my re-entry. So let's check in the space now. Let's check in on Bitcoin hourly time frame. Looks like I have to fix this chart. Sometimes TradingView gets a little out of whack. So same thing, bullish reversal candlestick, but it wasn't a volume climax candlestick. Still a very significant one. And looking on the 4-hour time frame, we're looking for these oversold bounces to play out, and we're getting bullish reversal candlesticks across the board. So that's a point as well. This is the first and the most significant bullish reversal candlestick we've seen on these charts in days. So that's another reason that I do want to re-enter. This bounce could last all through today. That's absolutely a possibility. So definitely want to position myself to benefit from that, but not going to rush back into a re-entry at this point. And in terms of interacting with people, I am going to be looking in the chat room here and answering questions and stuff. Just not yet. Still collecting my bearings. Again, I just, I slept out last night, drove home. Actually, fortunately, brought my computer with me, so I bought in, drove home, and now just trying to get everything up to speed. So hourly time frame on LTC, volume climax, bullish reversal candlestick. Still lower highs, certainly not changing any kind of trends at this point, but looking for an oversold bounce. The 4-hour RSI did not get oversold on LTC, so that's going to make me less likely to play it today. I want to play an oversold bounce for the magnified move to the upside that we see, and this break here lower for ETH is a red flag to me. Now I'm going to be looking at support of 132.95 and making an entry anticipating a higher low compared to that level. So at this point, looking around 140 or so is a potential level that I would look at. And I'm going to pull up my GDAX on my other screen here and make sure I'm ready to go. And this is not the kind of scenario where I would want to be bottom fishing or placing bids and trying to get filled. I want to wait to see a bullish reversal candlestick on this 5-minute time frame. And if that means that I have to buy at the ask, the volatility that we're seeing here, the fees that come with market orders are completely insignificant, which is why I backed down here in the 130s. I probably could have gotten filled all bids, but I didn't care at all at that point. If you give me, those fees compared to a $10 move to the upside are completely insignificant. So I don't think in this scenario with this kind of volatility and price action that, trying to be picky for a limit order is worthwhile. When things are slower, absolutely. But in this scenario, I will easily take fees in both directions on my trades when looking for $10 to $12 gains. So we're still pulling back now. We're looking at 140 psychological support. And the volume is not too significant for the bears, but it is fairly steady. Looks like we have a bunch of bids at the 143 level. We'll see if 143 can hold. And what I'm looking for here is I'm looking for bear volume to slow down. And that's what happens before the flip and the switch, before the bulls start buying. You see the bear volume that's hitting the bid, you see it slow down. And I am seeing it slow down right now as I'm speaking. Not enough to make me want to enter at this point, but it looks like 143 is more likely than not to hold on this go-around. I just bought some 144s. Partial position. I'm watching this 143 level very close. We have a decent amount of ETH on that. I am initiating a partial position, anticipating 143 to hold. If 143 does not hold, I will likely exit that real quick, keeping losses very small and letting the winners ride here. But I am getting filled with a decent amount in the 143s. And I will look to exit here. Right now at this point, I'm just looking to scalp at about another $4 or so. But looking to see if 143 will hold. Gotten filled about, let's see here, almost 3/4 of my position. So let's see if we can get a 5-minute bullish reversal candlestick. And a little bit of a bounce. I would anticipate a lower high to form here. We have highs at 155.50, 153, and I would anticipate 150 on this leg back up to be a bit of a resistance. So I'm in right now, average at about, just under 144, so I would be happy exiting at 148 if we get up there. And if we break 143 and I exit, I will likely lose maybe $1. So we're going to start setting, I'm going to cancel the last 25% of my position that did not fill, and I'm going to start setting my sell orders. So I'm not used to being live while trading, so forgive the moments of silence. Now, in this kind of volatility, sometimes I'll zoom into the 2-minute time frame to get even more information. There's plenty of volume on this move that you can use the 2-minute time frame, and it gives you some nice signals as well. I'm always scanning all different time frames to see what I'm looking for. So the 15-minute time frame right now looks like it's setting its higher low with a bullish reversal doji. There's still 8 minutes left in this candlestick. But we could very easily today, this morning, see a move up past 155 and into the 160s for this bounce to continue. Because again, it's all about perspective. You look at the 4-hour time frame, and this bullish reversal candlestick is just forming. If we were to confirm this bullish reversal candlestick over the next 4 hours, which would be noon to 4 p.m. Eastern, that's another significant move to the upside. And that's entirely possible. So always need to be looking at all different time frames to get perspective. And right now, this 15-minute time frame is looking pretty good. Really solid bull volume on the way up. The consolidation volume is not comparative. You can compare it, and it's lower, which is exactly what you want to see. And now let's see if this doji forms and gives the bulls a new support level to be going off of. Right now, our low is 143.02. And that's a support that the bulls want to see hold throughout the rest of the morning. They want that to be the new higher low. So checking in on Bitcoin, let's compare all these 15-minute time frames because it's very clear there on ETH. So this increase in bear volume is a little concerning on Bitcoin on the 15-minute time frame. And you always want to be comparing everything because there are correlations across the sector. But very clearly, ETH was the most beat up this morning, which is why it has my attention. But I might, considering where to re-enter the rest of my 25% position that did not fill, and I'm not confident enough that 143 is going to be our low for now, so I'm going to hold off and keep that in cash, that last 25%, to be able to play with that depending on this action. So the big red flag overnight as I left was very clear that we were breaking 175 support. And as soon as 175 support broke, that was the clear red flag to back off and be patient, because that was the lowest price that we've seen in weeks and weeks. And as soon as that broke, there was not a ton of support. The next incredibly clear support was 129. So there's support here at 129, 147. So we broke those levels, and 129 looks like we bounced, just above that level. And you can see 129, how clearly it stood out. Why is that the most clear support back here? Because we had a significant pullback, and the bulls bought the dip there in a significant way. So that 129 level was definitely an important one to be watching. And it was actually, we're getting a couple levels here. It's 115.67 was that absolute low. So that was a very key support level. And we do have a higher low now compared to that. And the 4-hour time frame from oversold, the RSI hitting 20, bullish reversal candlestick, the daily RSI dropped down just under 30. We bounced right at that 30 level last time. I'm not looking for a trend change. Keep that in mind. Look at this daily chart. We're not going to change this trend on this bounce. We're going to see another lower high. Keep that in mind. We're going to see a huge volume climax. We got another, 9.5 hours to trade. This might be one of the highest volume days that we've seen on ETH. But we have not seen 2 green days in a row in 3 weeks. And keeping that in mind, that's why I'm, easily exiting positions where I'm profitable, because I'm not going to enter here and hope that we start to turn things around and start to change the trend to favor the bulls long term. That will happen eventually, but until that does, I will gladly give up and leave some profit on the table to eliminate a lot of risk by continually locking in profit. And at this point, to see a bullish reversal candlestick on the daily time frame by 8 p.m., we need to close 155 or better to see a bullish reversal hammer on the daily time frame. And even then, we have not confirmed a bullish reversal candlestick on the daily time frame in over 3 weeks. So we have to keep all of that in mind, have to keep the long-term perspective. Right now, this is an oversold bounce, but rather than it occurring on the 5-minute time frame in really short term, it's an oversold bounce occurring on the hourly and the 4-hour time frame. So this bounce can have a little bit more prolonged action. It can play out a little bit longer, for perhaps a dozen or 2 hours rather than just, 1 or 2 hours. Not liking the upper wick on that 5-minute candlestick. Need to get back to watching GDAX and the volume that's coming in on the order book here. That's a nice bid at 144.64 on ETH. And it just disappeared, so we'll see what that keeps popping back in and out. Right now, the order book is favoring the bulls in the short term. Just looking at the depth chart of GDAX. It looks like bulls need to get over 145 and then 147 to see this bounce continue to play out. And there is a big bid trying to induce buying at the ask. Now it's at 900 at 144.72. Let's see if it does motivate the bulls to get through this 145 wall. And you can see whoever is playing with that bid is not someone that wants those 900 ETH to be filled. It's someone who probably already has a position and wants someone to buy those 145s to see the price continue to appreciate. So back to the 2-minute time frame, you can see we're getting pretty tight here. And we definitely need to break this 145 level, or we will likely lose 143 support. But this bid keeps popping back in. Someone's definitely playing games on the bid. But you can tell when the bid's moving in and out like that whoever it is, they're not trying to get filled with those shares. Or coins, I should say. So chipping away at the 145 wall. I almost want to join that party. So at this point, it's all about 143 and 147 on the shorter term time frames for ETH. And a bunch more. ETH is now popping up at 145. It was on the verge of breaking. Wow, we're getting a lot of flashes going on. 900 ETH on the bid and leaving, 400 ETH on the ask and leaving. So a bunch of posturing and positioning going on. So things are getting very tight. We're going to see a clear break and a spike in volume in the very near term future. And if this bid would stick around at 144.46, so you can see 1,000 just got filled. Someone just sold $144,000 worth of ETH, and the bid did get filled, so it is sitting there now. So that was a significant amount just sold. And there goes 143 being tested now. So about 2,000, more than 2,000 were just sold in a couple of minutes. So exiting some of my position here at 143 just to protect. Higher low has not been established yet. Next support I'm looking at is down at 140 psychological and then 138, looking at the 2-minute time frame. So the bulls now, to turn things around, have to break this 2-minute lower high pattern. Checking back in on that 15-minute time frame, now that the candlestick has formed, you can see it's no longer a bullish reversal doji. So that just shows you the importance of waiting for candlesticks to close. Certainly looked like a bullish doji was going to form. It looked like 143 was solid support. And then by the time the candlestick closed, no longer a bullish reversal candlestick. It's still on declining bear volume, so that's a good sign. But we have not established our higher low yet on this consolidation on the 15 minutes. So we saw an hour of just straight shot upside, big bull move. Now we're consolidating. We will form a higher low. And the question will be, how is this 15-minute equilibrium pattern going to break when it forms? So the 5-minute equilibrium pattern made a bear break at 145.77. And now we're going to form a 15-minute equilibrium pattern. But we still have not found our higher low yet to set the range. And the range is going to be the high that we've seen of 155.50 and the low wherever that is once we find it. So checking in on the hourly time frame, the bullish reversal candlestick is not even being confirmed. So we have to keep that in mind. We have not confirmed this bullish reversal candlestick, and we're not going to this candlestick. So we always need to remain cautious until we see signs of a trend change, and we're getting signs of a trend change on the 5-minute and the 15-minute time frame, but we're not getting it on the hourly time frame as we just set a lower high. So it's all about whether or not we form a higher low and then see continuation. Have to break this high that we've seen of the 155s in order for this bounce to have significant drawn out movement to the upside. So it looks like nobody of the big three has formed their higher low on the 15-minute time frame. So that's where we stand right now, just patiently waiting for that higher low to form with a 15-minute bullish reversal candlestick. Looks like everybody in the space is getting crushed. Checking in on Golem. Back down towards its lows. Must hold 8-8 to try and see a bounce on the daily time frame play out. So that's a bullish reversal candlestick, but we still have 9 minutes to go. We'll have to see if we can form with a hammer here. All about 145 resistance and then 147. So we're looking at the August 1st date here, and we still have a long way to go. There are going to be short-term bounces on the way down, in my opinion, but I do not think we're going to see any kind of trend change before August 1st. That being said, I will be all cash and ready to buy hand over fist on August 1st. And let's see what day that is. That is a Tuesday. So until then, we're playing short-term oversold bounces. And again, my personal game plan is to be all cash by that time. So I can, number one, play it safe and be cautious, but number two, be ready to pull that trigger along with many other people that I think are going to get back in. So this 15-minute volume is very encouraging that the bottom is in for today. And you zoom out and you look at the 15-minute time frame, and that hour of volume is very significantly the highest volume that we have seen compared to the bear volume. So that's always a good sign. And again, look at the volume on this pullback now, declining. This is exactly what the bulls want to be seeing for this morning. So our low right now of this pullback is 140.34. That's the new level that the bulls want to hold. It was 143, that broke. So now it's just above 140. And it looks like this 15-minute candlestick is going to see increased volume, but depending on the shape of it, we can see that this lower wick, a good deal of that volume we can assume is bull volume because of that lower wick. So volume itself is not the only thing you need to be looking at. You need to be looking at the volume and the candlestick shape to tell you whether it's bullish or bearish volume. So if you look down and see a red bar that's increasing, you say, uh-oh, that's not good. But then you look at the candlestick shape and say, oh, well, that's a lower wick. Bulls were buying that dip. And even though the volume shows red because it's a lower close than the candlestick preceding it, that's still bull volume coming in, buying that dip. So that's a bullish reversal candlestick on the 15-minute. Now we just need to break 145. Again, always flashing around different time frames to see what's going on. Now we need to break 147 in order to break the lower high pattern. Although we haven't broken 145 yet, we got right to it. It's clear that the bears are stacking 145 intentionally. They're trying to keep that resistance at this point. Whether that's shorts wanting the price to go down, which I doubt at this point, or someone trying to load more for another leg to the upside, which I think is more likely. If I were playing short right now, and I always like that too, if you're, a technical analyst and you're looking at the charts, what would I be wanting to see if I were short? To put yourself in the opposing side's shoes, so to speak. And that's what I'm always trying to do. I'm always trying to put myself in the general herd's mindset, the psychology of the general herd, the psychology of the shorts, the psychology of the bulls. And right now, everything that I'm seeing on the chart would have me taking a step back and not doing anything short in this space until this afternoon or tonight at least. And we got some nice buy volume coming in, taking down that 145 wall. So that's a solid bullish reversal candlestick on the 15-minute time frame. That looks pretty set in stone right now. I currently have a full position, and what I love about this is that every time I rebuy ETH, it's the most ETH I've ever had before. And that's with me cashing out. I've been cashing out some USD over the past couple of weeks to take off all of my initial investment, so it's all profit at this point. But because of this significant pullback and because of staying cash on a downtrend, being able to rebuy every time, right now the ETH that I have is twice as much as I was playing with a month ago. So we have our higher low now significantly, or I should say convincingly set. Volume is telling us that. The bullish reversal candlestick is telling us that. And now we're at 147 and we've broken that level. So these are all good signs for the bulls that our higher low has been established. And now we will look for higher lows and higher highs on the 5-minute time frame as we head back to 150. And let's see if the other big three are doing it. Bullish reversal candlestick on Bitcoin and on Litecoin. So we are seeing it. And I'll always keep checking these three and see if one of them breaks to a higher high. By breaking the high of the top of the bounce at this point, that will give me that much more confidence that the others will follow as well. So daily volume today, I do think we have a good shot at breaking the all-time high. Although at this point, I take that back. I doubt we'll break that 750. But we'll get close. So at this point, I'm just establishing my game plan as to whether or not I want to set my reload at break even or whether I want to lock in some more profit here with a $4 move to the upside. Those are solid gains. But the potential is there for more significant gains if we do get this higher high by breaking 155.50. We break that 155.50 and we're going into the 160s. Which from here is another $15 move and certainly significant gains. And GDAX really needs to get a feature where they tell you what your average is, because right now I have absolutely no idea what my average price is for ETH. I know it's in the low 140s, but other than that, it'd be really nice to know exactly what that level is. And that seems like a really easy mathematical equation for them to put into. I'm sure we'll see some upgrades in the future. So I'm on GDAX for trading currently on my other screen. And there are people now getting interested in the crypto space that missed the move to the upside. I have some people contacting me with large sums of money that are looking to enter this space that held off once it hit the 200s, 300s, 400s, ran away from them. But, you know, six figures looking to get in now that we have cooled off significantly. Good question. Got a question about the 4-hour descending triangle line. I would be surprised if the bulls had the power to get back to that level. At this point on this bounce, let's say the bounce takes another 24 hours to play out. That would still mean we have to get up to the 190s. It's possible, but that's a 30+% move from where we currently stand. So I would say less likely that we get to that level. I think a very significant bounce would hit the 170s. So things are certainly slowing down, which can be a good thing. Everybody can take some deep breaths, establish their game plan. I'm going to go back in and try and figure out roughly what my average is at. So now in the 5-minute time frame, we have to form higher lows and higher highs. So we're consolidating after a 10-minute bull move. Have to form a higher low compared to 140.34. And then see a break of 147.50. And we're seeing a very correlated move across the big three. You can see the 10 minutes of bull move, now a little bit of 5-minute consolidation. So I'll be looking for volume clues on all of them. And that is a very good sign. Very low volume on this little 5-minute pullback. Always want to be seeing increasing bull volume and decreasing bear volume. And setting up with a little bit of a bull flag, it looks like, on the 15-minute time frame for Bitcoin at least. That's a good looking bull flag. Look at that on the 15-minute time frame. Go to the 5-minute time frame to get more details so you can draw those trend lines nice and tight. That's the channel to be watching. That is a bull pattern after the big bull break. This is healthy, contained consolidation, and it's a continuation pattern. And we don't really have that same pattern on ETH. The pullback was more significant. But that's encouraging that Bitcoin is in a bull flag. Litecoin, also the pullback's a bit more significant, not so much of a bull flag pattern. Oh man, it's already 11 o'clock. That's wild. I'm going to have to go here in a short bit. I will do a crypto video tonight to catch back up on how this bounce has played out at that point. So exit point for ETH at this point, really you have to establish your game plan on your entry. You're either looking for a few dollars scalp to the upside, a $3 to $5 scalp, and locking in that profit, or you're looking and being patient and waiting for a break of 155.50. And to allow that, you're either setting your stop loss at break even or an acceptable risk, maybe a couple dollars below your entry point, to allow for the potential for the bulls to break that level. At this point, because I have already locked in a significant gain on the morning, and because I was able to re-enter at about $5 less than what I sold at, I am likely to set a stop loss and go about my day, as I do have things I have to do. I have to go around town. Certainly will be taking my computer with me and stopping in coffee shops and stuff if I need to. But I think that how I have positioned myself this morning, I will set a stop loss level and look for a continuation move into the 160s this afternoon. And again, it's the number one factor that would have that as my game plan is the volume in the last 2 hours as shown on this 15-minute time frame. So it looks like we have a little bit of resistance at 146, and then 147.50 is the level to break. And there's a bunch of ETH right at those levels. If we did not have August 1st approaching, I would be more prone to have this be a potential multiple day long-term entry. But that's always in the back of my mind. And it's always in the back of the mind of everybody in this space. And again, I feel it's going to be a non-event. But until it becomes a sure thing that it's a non-event, need to be very cautious. Because it's very easy to spook people in this space. But you got to figure right now, I mean, we've been in a downtrend for weeks. Most of the people that are trying to get out before August 1st are making their way to the exit. I would say the majority of them have already exited. And if they're not, you got to wonder what they're doing, holding for a 2-week downtrend to decide to exit just before the event. I guess it's possible, but they would certainly be making bad decisions in my opinion. So while that doesn't mean that volume is going to come in and start buying before August 1st, that does mean that I think the selling is going to begin to slow as we reach that date, as the majority of people will have already exited. But when you see a dump like this, it's just a gift when you're cash. And when we hit 132, I said, all right, I need to walk to my car and get my computer. And by the time I came back, the price was at 142. I thought, oh, missed the initial entry, but not giving up, and I'm not going to chase, just patiently waiting for the higher low to form, which we know is coming. So I'll be a lot more confident with setting a stop loss here if we do break this 147.50 level, and I will likely set my stop loss. I might use this 144.48 level, a higher low we just formed. If I want to get more wiggle room, I would use this 140.34. And because it's right near 140 psychological, I would probably put it just under 140. But it all depends on your own risk-reward scenario. And you can also, you don't have to play with full positions. I usually play with full positions. But, if you want to be cautious here and exit half and give half the opportunity to ride, that's definitely a safer way to do it to hedge some risk as well. So I'm going to wrap up here. I've got to head out here in just about 20 minutes. Need some catching up to do. Looks like we did just get that bull break, so that's a little bit more confidence in the bulls. And next resistance from here is really 150 psychological. Let's see, Bitcoin still in that equilibrium. Watching for a break of the Bitcoin equilibrium pattern will give some confidence to the other names in the space. Nice move on ETH. Still likely to form this 15-minute equilibrium pattern, but we are confirming that bullish reversal candlestick. We will likely set a lower high compared to 155.50. Then we'll have to form a higher low and watch this range tighten as volume drops off, giving us a clear break. Some point, I would say, in the next 2.5 hours. But this equilibrium pattern could play out for the next 2 hours very easily. So keep that in mind. We are looking for a lower high to form here. And then we'll pull back and look to form a higher low compared to 140.34. So thanks everybody for tuning in this Sunday morning. Just jumped on with the extreme volatility and opportunity. And I hope you all have a good rest of your day. I'll put out a video by tonight. And I will see you all soon.